I was not born in Dunwall, and maybe that's why I remember the city so clearly. The first time I saw it, the sky was low and gray. The river was black and the towers rose from the fog like old knives. Dunwall did not welcome me. It watched me, quietly, patiently, as if every alley, every window, every guard tower, and every rat beneath the stones already knew what I would become. So stay close for a while, listen carefully, and if you enjoy these quiet stories from the dark corners of Dunwall, leave a like and subscribe. Not for me, men like me do not ask for kindness, but there are more whispers in this city, more shadows, more names buried under rain and whale oil. And some stories only survive because someone chooses to listen. Dunwall measured me before I understood its rules. It looked at my empty hands, my worn boots, my hunger, and it decided what kind of life I might be allowed to have. A worker, a beggar, a corpse, or something worse. I came from the edge of the Empire, from a place where the wind still sounded like wind, not like steam pipes, watch bells, and dying machines. Then I came here, to a city built on whale oil, blood, iron, and secrets. The Wrenhaven River ran through Dunwall like an open wound. Dark water, thick with filth, carrying ships, bodies, and whispers from one district to the next. The river fed the city, and the city poisoned it in return. That was Dunwall's nature. It took everything it could reach, then gave back rot. I was young then, angry, or alone enough to learn quickly. In Dunwall, men steal the bread from your hand and blame you for starving. Women smile from behind locked doors because trust is a luxury. Children learn to lie before they learn to read. And far above them all, behind glass and gold, the rich pretend they cannot hear the city suffering beneath their feet. But I heard it. I heard the bells, the rats, the coughs in the plague houses, the boots of the city watch on wet stone. I heard the quiet sound a man makes when he realizes no one is coming to save him. That was the first language Dunwall taught me, fear, and I learned to speak it well. At first I killed because I had to. That is what I told myself. A knife in the dark, a body left in an alley, a purse heavy enough to buy another week. There are many ways to begin a life of murder, but the excuses all sound the same in the end. Survival, necessity, hunger, fear. And one day, you realize you no longer need the excuse. The first man I killed in Dunwall had bad teeth, and worse luck. He thought I was easy prey. I let him think it. He followed me beneath the bridge near Bottle Street, where the walls seemed to breathe with rats. He had a blade. So did I. His mistake was showing me his first. I remember his eyes more than his face. Not fear, surprise. He had lived his whole life believing violence belonged to him. Then, in 1 second, it did not. That was the first real lesson Dunwall gave me. Power is only real until someone takes it from you. After that, work found me. There is always work in a city like Dunwall. A jealous husband, a noble with debts, a merchant who wants his partner gone, a gang captain with too many rivals. People speak of murder as if it is rare, as if it is a crack in the world. It is not. Murder is one of Dunwall's oldest trades, cleaner than politics, more honest than law. The Watch murders with uniforms, the Abbey murders with scripture, the aristocracy murders with signatures. I used a blade, and I was better at it. That was how my name began to move through the city, quietly, at first, a whisper in taverns where the floorboards were sticky with spilled gin. A rumor passed between servants who heard too much, a warning hidden in the eyes of men who suddenly feared the dark. Daud. A name can be a weapon if people fear it enough. It can open doors, buy silence, summon coin, and gather followers. The Whalers came later. People think assassins are born from cruelty. Some are, Most are born from emptiness. You find those with nothing, and you give them purpose, rules, a weapon, a place to belong. You tell them the world already forgot them, so they might as well learn how to disappear. I found boys and girls no one would miss. Street rats, runaways, deserters, children of factories, plague houses, and locked doors. Some were killers before I met them. Some were only hungry. I trained them all the same. Grip the blade like this. Step where the floor will not speak. Do not breathe when the guard turns. Do not look at the body for too long. Do not speak a name unless you are ready to kill for it. We made our home in the flooded district, among ruins, dead machines, broken walls, and water that remembered every corpse thrown into it. It suited us. Dunwall throws away everything it does not want to see. Bodies, buildings, people. We became what the city discarded, and from that place we reached everywhere. Nobles in their towers thought they were safe. Overseers in their temples thought their prayers made them untouchable. Merchants locked their doors, counted their coins, and slept badly. They were right to. I have stood on rooftops above Dunwall at midnight and watched the city breathe, smoke rising from chimneys, lamps burning behind curtains, watch patrols moving through rain. Somewhere a woman screaming, somewhere else music, always music. Dunwall plays music over suffering, as if a violin can drown out a plague cart. The plague changed the city, but it did not create its cruelty. It only revealed it. When the rats came, people spoke as if Dunwall had fallen from grace. That made me laugh. Grace. This city was built on whale bones and worker graves. The plague did not corrupt Dunwall. It gave Dunwall permission to show its true face. The poor died first. They always do. Whole districts were sealed away. Families burned inside their homes. The sick begged at barricades while guards aimed pistols at them. The rich bought elixirs, masks, and private physicians. The government wrote orders. The abbey wrote prayers, and the rats did the rest. And I kept working. That is the part I will not soften. I did not become kinder because the world grew worse. I took contracts. I trained killers. I collected payment. I told myself Dunwall had always been dying, and I was only another symptom, a useful lie. Every killer needs one. Mine was that I understood the world better than other men. I saw the gears turning beneath the painted surface. I saw corruption behind every noble smile. I saw that morality was a story told by people who could afford comfort. I believed that made me honest. It did not. It only made me efficient. Then came the Empress, Jessamine Caldwin. People speak her name differently depending on what they need from the memory. Loyalists say it like a prayer. Conspirators spit it like poison. The common folk remember her as a face on coins, a voice from proclamations, a woman too far above them to feel real. To me, she was a contract. That is the truth. No thunder, no grand hatred, no righteous cause. Someone paid. I accepted, and the Empress became another name spoken in a room where men were afraid to look directly at me. But some names carry more weight than others. I remember the tower, the cold air, the sound of water far below. I remember her turning. I remember the child. Emily. There are moments in life when time does not slow down. No matter what poets say, it sharpens. Every detail cuts. The color of the sky, the breath in your throat, the exact second when a choice becomes a sin. I killed the Empress of the Isles, not for revenge, not for justice, not even for power, for coin. Afterward, Dunwall changed, or maybe I did. The city erupted into mourning and lies, posters, curfews, accusations. Men who arranged the murder wept in public. The guilty hunted the innocent, and the innocent died, because that is what innocence is best at in Dunwall. Then I heard her voice, not with my ears, worse, in memory. There is a difference between regret and guilt. Regret is selfish. It says, I wish this had not happened to me. Guilt says, I did this, I chose this, I placed my hand on the knife and pushed. For a long time, I had lived among ghosts without listening to them. Dunwall is full of ghosts. You pass them every day. A dead worker beneath the factory floor, a drowned woman in the river, a child coughing behind a boarded door. The city survives because everyone agrees not to hear them. But after Jessamine, I heard them. The outsider came to me, as he always does, quiet, curious, smiling like a man who already knows the ending. He gives gifts the way someone drops stones into a well, listening for the depth. He had marked me long before, given me power I pretended to understand, to blink through shadow, to bend the rules of the world, to step outside what men believe possible. Power is dangerous because it feels like permission. I used his mark to become a legend, to move faster than fear, to kill men who thought walls could protect them. But the outsider never forces the blade into your hand. That is the cruelest part. He watches, he offers, he waits. The choice is always yours. After the Empress, I began searching for something I could not name. Redemption is too clean a word. Men like me do not wash themselves white. Maybe I wanted meaning, maybe punishment, maybe an answer, a way to make one act balance another. But life has never worked that way. Dunwall does not forgive, it remembers. Every alley where I spilled blood remained. Every rooftop I crossed still held my shadow. Every student I trained carried a piece of me into the dark. I had made myself into a weapon, and weapons do not decide who deserves mercy after the killing is done. But men are not only weapons. That thought troubled me. A blade has no memory. A man does. I thought about the Whalers, about what I had given them, and what I had taken. I taught them discipline, survival, and power. But I also taught them to empty themselves, to turn away from the body, to make death ordinary. That may have been my greatest crime, not the killing itself, but the lesson that killing could be done without consequence. There are always consequences. Sometimes they wear a crown. Sometimes they wear a child's face. Sometimes they stare back from a mirror when the city is quiet. And Dunwall can become very quiet. Beneath the machines, beneath the bells, there are hours before dawn when even the rats seem to wait. I used to stand then, above the roofs, and look toward Dunwall Tower, toward the river, toward the golden estates and the black mouths of the alleys. I knew the city better than any noble who claimed to rule it. I knew where the bodies went. I knew which guards took bribes. I knew which priests broke their vows. I knew the price of a life in every district. That knowledge did not make me wise, only tired. Live long enough by the knife, and the world becomes simple in the worst way. Entrances, exits, threats, angles, distance. A man's throat is no longer a miracle of flesh and breath. It is a target. A room is not a room. It is cover, shadow, risk. A crowd is not people. It is noise. That is what Dunwall made of me. No, that is what I let Dunwall make of me. There is a difference. I blamed the city, the outsider, the rich, the plague, the men who hired me, the empire that eats its poor and calls the meal order. All of them deserve blame, but none of them moved my hand. I did. That truth is heavier than any blade I ever carried. Still, Dunwall taught me more than cruelty. It taught me how people endure. I have seen kindness here, small and stubborn as a candle in rain. A woman sharing bread when she had almost none. A guard letting a sick child pass through a checkpoint. A servant lying to protect a friend. A stranger closing the eyes of a corpse because someone should. The city is monstrous, but not everyone in it is a monster. Maybe that is why it hurts to remember. If Dunwall were only evil, men like me would be easy to explain. But it is not. It is beautiful in broken ways. Moonlight on wet stone, gulls crying above slaughterhouses, tall ships moving through fog, distant bells, salt beneath the stink of oil, and that strange feeling just before sunrise that the city might still become something else. It never does, but for a moment you believe it could. I do not know what history will call me. Assassin, traitor, monster. The Knife of Dunwall. Men love names because names are easier than truth. Let them choose whichever one helps them sleep. I know what I was. I was a boy who came to Dunwall with nothing. I was a man who mistook fear for respect. I was a killer who built a family out of the lost and taught them to disappear. I was the hand that ended an Empress. I was a coward who called himself practical. And for a time, I was a man trying to do one thing that did not make the world worse. Maybe that is not enough. Maybe nothing is. But I have learned that a life is not weighed only at the end. It is weighed every time you choose. Every contract, every mercy, every body left behind, every hand stayed, every child spared, every truth finally spoken. Dunwall taught me that people can become anything if the city presses hard enough. But it also taught me something else. Becoming a monster does not mean you must remain one. The river still runs black. The towers still watch. The rats still wait in the walls. And somewhere in this city, someone is making the same bargain I once made. A little blood for a little coin. A little silence for another day alive. They will tell themselves it is only survival. They will believe it. For a while. Then Dunwall will ask for more. It always does. My name is Daud. I have lived in the shadow of this city. I have killed for it, bled for it, cursed it, served it in ways no honest man would understand. If there is one truth I can leave behind, it is this. Dunwall does not make monsters from nothing. It finds what is already wounded. Then it teaches it how to hold a knife.